On behalf of the Committee on Executive Appointment and Government Investigation, I would like to welcome Governor Apatang and Lieutenant Governor Mendiola's representative, Mr. John Paul Regis, along with Amishai and Tris Komotsu. The appointee Janet U. Maritita, elected officials, dignitaries, and members of the general public. Before we proceed forward with this public hearing, let me first introduce the members of this standing committee. To my right side of the aisle is the floor leader of the Senate, Senator Dauno Manglonia from the 1st Senatorial District, Rota. And next to him is the Vice Chairman of this committee, Senator Jude U. Snyder from the 2nd Senatorial District, Tinian. And next to him is Senator Manny Castro from the 3rd Senatorial District, Saipan. And I'm the chairman of this standing committee, Senator Francisco Q. Cruz from the 2nd Senatorial District, Tinian. I would also like to announce a couple of things in the interest of informational purposes regarding code of conduct during this public hearing. Today, the members of this standing committee is conducting a public hearing on the appointment of Ms. Janet U. Maritita to serve as a member of the Northern Marianas Housing Corporation Board of Directors to represent the 3rd Senatorial District and the private sector. The public will be invited to make comments as to whether you support or oppose the appointee before us this morning. We value your input. However, any comments beyond the facts of the appointee or comments that are not directly related with this public hearing will not be entertained, and such comment will be removed from the record. At the same time, please observe minimal noises in disrupting this hearing process, and please turn your electronic to a silent mode. Thank you. Let us now begin. This public hearing is now in session. Today is January 28, 2026 at approximately 9:48 in the morning here at the Senate chamber of the Vice Speaker Jesus P. Mafnas Memorial Building, Capitol Hill, Saipan. This is a public hearing regarding the appointment of Ms. Janet U. Maritita by Governor David M. Apatang and Lieutenant Governor Dennis C. Mendiola to serve as a member of the Northern Marianas Housing Corporation Board of Directors to represent the 3rd Senatorial District and the private sector. David Macaronas will be assisting us on this morning public hearing. Our Sergeant at Arms will be Mr. DeLong Guerrero. Our IT will be Mr. Komatsu, and our legal counsel will be Jobo Moody's. And they'll all serve accordingly for this public hearing. At this time, I ask Mr. Macaronas to please call the roll.
Senator Ronnie M. Calvo.
President.
Senator Manny T. Castro.
Stick out.
Senator Francisco Q. Cruz.
Here.
Senator Jude U. Hofschneider.
EAGI.
Senator Karina L. Magofia.
Present.
Senator Donald M. Manglonia.
Present.
Mr. Chairman, all members of the Senate EAGI committee are present.
Thank you. With all 6 members present, we have the necessary number to proceed with this public hearing. At this time, do I hear a motion to adopt our agenda? There's a motion for the adoption of today's public hearing agenda and was seconded. All in favor say aye. Oppose say nay. And before can the sergeant please escort the governor's nominee? And before I recognize the governor's rep to do the introduction, I also would like, for the interest of the general public, also a member of this standing committee, the Vice President of the Senate, Senator Karina Magofia, on my left side of the aisle. At this time, I know, ma'am, that you have submitted all required documents by this body, but if you have anything else in addition to the submission of documents that you wish to share this morning, you have the floor. But before you proceed, please state your name for the record. Thank you.
Go first. Mr. Chair, do I introduce?
Sorry, I'm sorry, I apologize.
Thank you.
My
All right.
I'm still sleeping.
You got
I
it.
apologize. First, I would like to recognize the governor's rep to do the introduction. I apologize. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. Good morning, Hafadays, Antiro, Honorable Chairman Francisco Q. Cruz, and Honorable Senate members of the Executive Appointments and Government Investigations Committee. For record purposes, my name is Jean-Paul B. Regis, Special Assistant for the Administration under the Office of the Governor. On behalf of the Honorable Governor David M. Apateng and the Honorable Lieutenant Governor Dennis James C. Mendiola, I thank you for conducting this public hearing out of your busy schedule and the opportunity to appear before you today. I am pleased to introduce Ms. Janet Uzoa Maritita, the Governor and Lieutenant Governor's nominee to the Northern Marianas Housing Corporation Board of Directors, representing the 3rd Senatorial District for the private sector. I am hopeful that you should have received her resume, which details her professional experience and educational background. Ms. Maritita is a distinguished senior public sector executive and former legislator with more than 30 years of exemplary service in government leadership and public policy. Throughout her career, marked by persuasion and dedication on community service, she has successfully led complex programs, oversaw grants and budgetary initiatives, including advancing official public health efforts that strengthen communities. Her experience and expertise reflect a steadfast commitment to exclusive governance, cultural preservation, an effective public servant, as well as a parishioner. Governor Apateng and Lieutenant Governor Dennis Mendiola has placed their complete trust and confidence in Ms. Maritita to serve as a member of the NMHC Board of Directors. We know she stands ready to answer your questions and present her preliminary vision for the future, and we kindly seek for your expeditious approval. Mr. Chairman, thank you, Jesus Mosi Zangiliso, for introducing her to this august body.
Thank you, Mr. Regis. Ma'am, as I mentioned earlier, before you proceed with any additional to the submission of required documents in body, you have the floor. But before you proceed, say your name for the record. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman Cruz. I just have
I apologize. This morning my brain is not working. I'm gonna try my very best to to make it work. Before you proceed, I would like to ask the Reverend to administer the oath. Can you please stand and raise your right hand?
Janet U. Maritita, you do solemnly swear under the penalty of perjury that the testimony you shall give in the matter at hand shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend, and I will try my best also not to make another mistake. You may proceed, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I only have a brief statement, and with this, I would like to say half a day. Buenas and con respeto, Chairman Cruz and honorable members of the Senate Standing Committee on Executive Appointment and Governmental Investigation. For the record, I am Janet Uzoa Maritita. Mr. Chairman, Vice Chair, and honorable members of this committee, Jesus Mangasi, thank you for the opportunity to appear before you today. I am honored to be nominated by our governor, the Honorable Governor David Apateng, and Lieutenant Governor, the Honorable Dennis Mendiola, to serve on the board of the Northern Marianas Housing Corporation, NMHC. I believe safe, affordable, and sustainable housing is essential to the stability and growth of our small island communities. If confirmed, I am committed to work collaboratively with fellow board members, the staff, and other stakeholders to ensure responsible policies and transparency that serve our residents with dignity and fairness. I bring a wealth of passion and respect for public service, and I am prepared to carry out the responsibilities of such role, and that I am fully dedicated and committed to serve in this capacity. The responsibility of such role really is a noble opportunity and a privilege, and if confirmed, I will do so with integrity and dedication to the corporation and the people that we serve. Again, thank you for your time and consideration, and I stand ready, and I'll do my best to answering your questions. Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members.
Thank you, Mr. Marita, for your well-said testimony. And before I recognize the members of the general public that are here in the gallery that wishes to deliver testimony, first I would like to recognize those agencies that are invited to participate. First, from the Northern Marianas Housing Corporation, the corporate director. If there's a representative of the corporate director that wishes to come forward and testify. That's not a problem. And before you proceed, please state your name for the record. Thank you.
Good morning, Chairman Cruz and esteemed members of the committee. My name is Marcy M. Tomokani. I'm currently the chairperson of the Board of Directors for the Northern Marianas Housing Corporation. Thank you for the opportunity and for taking the time to hear this testimony in support of the nomination of Ms. Janet Uzoa Martita to serve on the Board of Directors of the Northern Marianas Corporation, NMHC. I'm honored to offer my strong support for Ms. Martita, whose more than 30 years of public service reflect exceptional leadership, integrity, and unwavering commitment to the people of the Commonwealth. Her professional background, education, and skill set make her highly qualified to serve on this important role. Ms. Martita has served with distinction at both the legislative and executive branch or levels of government. Has a 5-term elected representative in the Commonwealth Legislature, including 1 term as Vice Speaker of the House. She demonstrated sound legislative leadership and policy oversight across critical areas such as education, health, natural resources, and economic development. Her committee leadership and advancement of fiscally responsible legislation underscore her ability to make thoughtful, balanced decisions and essential quality for board service. Her executive experience further strengthens her qualifications while serving in the Office of the Governor, including as Program Manager in the Office of Grants Management and as Pacific Liaison Officer during the COVID-19 Task Force response. Ms. Martita led complex programs, ensure regulatory compliance, manage public funds responsibly, coordinated cross-agency initiative, and engage effectively with community stakeholders. This responsibility directly align with the fiduciary oversight and governance duties of the NMHC board. Ms. Martita's key areas of expertise: legislative leadership and policy, program management, government operation, stakeholder relations, budget oversight, and regulatory compliance equip her to contribute meaningfully to NMHC's mission of expanding housing opportunities while maintaining accountability and public trust. Her certification as a Chamorro translator and interpreter who also reflects cultural competence and sensitivity to the diverse communities NMHC served. What sets Ms. Maritita apart is her deep and sustained community involvement. Throughout her career, she has devoted her time and leadership to numerous civic, educational, faith-based, and nonprofit organizations, including the Sinamay Center for Independence Living, the Sinamay Public School System, youth and humanitarian organizations, parish councils, and the Sinamay Girl Scout Association. Her service reflects a genuine understanding of community needs and a lifelong commitment to improving the quality of life for families across the Commonwealth. Ms. Maritita's educational background in political science and social work, combined with her professionalism, strong work ethic, confidentiality, and collaborative approach, further affirm her readiness to serve effectively at the board level. Chairman Cruz and members of this committee, Ms. Janet Maritita is exceptionally qualified to serve on the NMHC Board of Directors. I respectfully urge your favorable consideration of her nomination, and I'm confident she will serve with diligence, integrity, and a deep sense of responsibility to the people of the Commonwealth. Thank you again for your time and consideration.
Thank you, Chairman Tamakani. I see that the I think acting corporate director is yes, sir. You can come forward. Yeah. You may proceed, and before you deliver your testimony, just state your name for the record. Thank you.
Hafidez and Tiro, Chairman Cruz, and honorable members of the EAGI committee. My name is Jesse Palacios, and I'm the acting corporate director of the Northern Marianas Housing Corporation. And I am here today in support of the nomination of Ms. Janet Uzoa Maritita to the Northern Marianas Housing Corporation Board of Directors, representing the island of Saipan. Although I have not had the privilege of working directly with Ms. Maritita, based on her various capacities in the legislative, executive, autonomous, and other worthwhile organizations, I can confidently speak to her exceptional leadership, public service dedication, and commitment to improving the lives of the people of Saipan and the Northern Mariana Islands as a whole. The NMHC's mission is multifaceted, challenging, and deeply personal to the well-being of our communities. Ms. Maritita's impressive record in public service provides a direct, point-for-point response to each aspect of this mission. On strategic leadership and governance, Ms. Maritita's 5 terms as a legislator, including a term as Vice Speaker of the House, provided her with a masterclass, if you will, in governance, coalition building, and fiduciary oversight. She didn't just vote on budgets. She served as Vice Chair of the Ways and Means Committee, where she helped scrutinize and allocate public funds for the entire Commonwealth. This experience is invaluable for a board member who must ensure that the NMHC's financial health, grant commitments and expenditures, and long-term sustainability are carefully reviewed and mapped out to maximize the much-needed assistance the community demands. on program delivery and operational excellence. Her recent role as program manager for the Office of Grants Management is perhaps the most directly relevant experience for the NMHC's operational mandate to comply with federal agency requirements. In this capacity, she was responsible for the end-to-end management of federal and other grant funds, ensuring strict compliance, timely and accurate reporting, and most importantly, that funds achieve their intended impact. She has hands-on experience navigating the complex regulatory environments that often accompany housing and community development funding, a skill set that will immediately enhance the board's oversight capabilities. On equity, access, and serving the vulnerable, Ms. Maritita's commitment to the community is commendable. Her professional history is a chronicle of advocacy for those most in need. As a program manager for diabetes prevention and non-communicable diseases, she designed and implemented public health initiatives targeting systemic health disparities. This experience grants her a unique lens on how housing stability is a social determinant of health. She understands that safe, decent, and affordable housing is preventative care. Furthermore, her role as one of the first board of director members for the CNMI Center for Living Independently offers undeniable proof of her dedication to ensuring our community's disabled members have the resources and advocacy they deserve, a core tenet of NMHC's mission. On holistic community and economic development, a housing agency does not operate in a vacuum. Ms. Maritita's legislative committee leadership, chairing committees on education, natural resources, and health and welfare, demonstrates her systemic understanding of how housing intertwines with education outcomes, environmental sustainability, and public health. She knows that promoting home ownership and economic independence, as stated in our mission, requires a coordinated approach across sectors. Her perspective will help the board innovate and partner effectively to create homes and thriving communities. On trust, communication, and community engagement, perhaps her most critical asset is her proven ability to serve as a trusted conduit between government and the people. Her appointment as public liaison officer for the COVID-19 task force was a testament to the high regard in which she is held for her integrity, clarity, and empathy. The NMHC board must maintain the confidence of the community it serves. Ms. Maritita's deep roots, from her parish leadership to her work with the Girl Scouts and Youth Council, mean she listens with understanding and communicates with respect. She ensures that community needs are heard at the boardroom table. In conclusion, Ms. Janet Zoa Maritita offers a rare and powerful synthesis of high-level policy expertise, granular program management experience, and ethical commitment. She would provide the NMHC board with strategic depth, operational insight, and a truly representative voice. Her nomination represents a strategic opportunity to strengthen the corporation's leadership for the benefit of all the people of the Northern Mariana Islands. I respectfully urge you to confirm her nomination with the utmost confidence. I am certain she will serve with distinction, wisdom, and passion. Thank you, Chairman Cruz and your August Committee, for your time and attention.
Thank you, Acting Corporate Director. At this time, I would like to open the floor for public comment, but before anyone step forward to deliver testimony, I want to remind again that any comments that is raised that is not directly related will not be entertained, and such comment will be removed from the record. At this time, public comment is officially open. Anyone in the gallery?
I hope this body gave me the chance because I have 5 pages for Ms. Janet. I'm just kidding. Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of this esteemed body. My name is Alice Santos Igito, and I'm here to express my strong support for Ms. Janet Maritita for the position of board member of the Northern Marianas Housing Corporation. As a former Congresswoman and Vice Speaker of our legislature, Ms. Maritita has consistently demonstrated exceptional leadership, a steadfast commitment to public service, and a deep understanding of the needs of our community. Her extensive legislative experience has provided her with comprehensive knowledge of governance policy making and meaningful community engagement. I firmly believe that her expertise, integrity, and passion for improving the lives of our constituents make her an ideal candidate for this position. Ms. Maritita will be a valuable asset to the Northern Marianas Housing Corporation, and I respectfully encourage this esteemed body to act favorably on her nomination. Siduus Maasi, Hilisu Remy, then thank you very much for your time and consideration.
Jesus Marcia, Ms. Igito. Still open for public comment? Good morning, Mayor.
Good morning. Hey, good morning. Buenos dias, Mr. Chairman, member of the body. Inaano si Ramon Blas Jose Camacho. Gua paugi akadi yini municipal Saipan. Mr. Chairman and member na body gaizu paugi menamizu. Hunumidi pa fangogo sapotasyon, considerasyon bem confirma si Senhora Janet Uzoa Maritita ni po ocupa na posisyon in Northern Marianas Housing Corporation Board of Director. Antu si Janet experience niya siya dan uno diduk ki kurson na yalang komunidad Saipan kita nota the jana manetbi the mimimu ne pro ajuda i publiku in rat kita nota uno alili inilala yalang komunidad ta todita bula tau-tau malago siya na pofan Chuli jana oportunidad i fengkas ni gaigi ye Northern Marianas Housing Corporation ni pofan maksa gumania ne po ma protehi siya ge offer mamela na tempo ni stisa talo i typhoon. Po sistigi uno na flexibility gas Janet widasti ofananan community oriented individual. Da jige mas todong yalo ni komunidad ni assistenti yalo kurasonnya i cinarsega i tauto ini kita nota. The Sin Mas usosozo anjo senator na konfirmasi Senhora Janet dinanti i governor i lieutenant governor ni apunta si Janet sa gua confianza di posisinya atulus mona i batko ni board of director i Northern Marianas Housing Corporation. Sin Mas Jesus Masi.
Jesus Marcia, Mayor. Still open for public comment? Anyone else? We also welcome family members if they wish to come forward and participate. Once we close public comment, we're not going to go back. So this is the opportunity. If no one else, at this time I close the floor for public comment, and I would like to entertain the members of this standing committee to raise concern or questions in regards to this appointee. At this time, I would like to recognize the Vice President of the Senate, Senator Corina Magofnia.
Jesus Masi no Chairman Cruz. Kala na inspired to si Mayor Kamatsu pabi tagi mu kwentus gifinut samoro, so heads up. I may butcher some stuff, but I will do my best. Buenos dias, Señora Maritita. Dyan ifamilya mo, dyan todos ni manggagi gwini man watu puro ma na iyo ni supportasyon and provide a testimony on your behalf. Malagod zo na binaiyo undang klu na si Diyos maasi ni unaksepta i nomination i gobernota dyan ni Lieutenant Governor no dangkulus din na responsibility dyan malagod zo binatungo na uagradesi is a mo commitment. Todi ma sangan put i geneftang i corazon mo dyan todi siya itsetso nun sogi for the past decade or so. Paraguahu anong na magahit na sibentin i publiko dya ungway dya itsetso mo dya Paraguahu uno na key element ang purun serve i public is a more passion. Sa kumugwaha passion galum corazon mo purun fanyadbi timakat, right? Unsogi tsetsu sa ungwayza i tsetsu ni pronsogi za untungo na gwaha beneficio para itoto ni un sasadbi. So taza no Joko reservation na an sa kaso na ma-confirmao neste na posisyon na poron sogi todo afa necesita poron sogi ni poron ajuda i tautauta ni magef necesita i ajudu. So situs masi i question or fananti question este pabishera na bula musheshare magizango or ang mangunto sa amin dyan ubisita loki i oficinan i housing dya isinedao na labulaha tautauta manggagigi waitlist maski 500 na applicants manggagigi waitlist pero fan manaplika ni di housing no dya kolandong kuluno na concern sa tutungo na taigwano na binila tautauta man I don't know how to say homeless no sa tao gumanya so man sensasaga or manyasaga za ni familia pari odzi na atungo niya ni man malago man manatsuda. So first and foremost patadzo dodzi mo aligodzi gumani po fanyaga. Second of all necesita ta comprendi hafatamano naman matugwini na problema ni para taigwano na binulan tautauta pero fansen sasaga za todza gumania, right? So I am hopeful na jangin ma-confirm mo na an molo mo unatan no siya na klasin manera za un check gi mano gyalum karasam mo ni po na judazis di siya i tautauta ni man homeless pago na brahi or pago na time. Jan kumusinya tutungo ko it's a policy ko or regulation lo jangin malumo as a board atan fani regulations li ko sinya ma prioritize i manana jan ni manggay famaguun za check tamano ni para tano iguma ni pro fanyagay famaguun sa ani mamamay sinzu siya no informations and question gi office masangani zo na tadza no like priority na first come first serve lo as a mother no jan hoguloki no atan fantamano ni singa patazudozis ti siya man nona ni mangguafa magunia man hobin kwa siya man neni zatatsek tamano ni para tilala ko na patano i preferential treatment lo mala za to considera i familia ni manggay famagun za man sensasaga za tatli itamanu kusinya matulay ka didi i regulation para po ma-accommodate and non classing situation. So, taza question no para hogo sa utunga na base ni todos tawafa siya unsogi gi mapus na tempo taza question na malago manyat beza gagi coração mo na po na juday toto. So, noa pa bi faisino an humolomo ko sinyon ata ni regulation ko sinya matulay ka jo ma na i some kind of priority para sti siya man familia ni magwahafa maguun and noa. Sizus Masi, Chair, that's all I have. I yield my time.
Sizus Masi, Vice President. This time I'd like to recognize the Vice Chairman of this committee, Senator Yu of Snyder.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Jesus Masi, to the members, the staff, especialmente Mangagi Gini. Mr. Mayor, welcome to the Senate. And everybody else, to the families, and especially to the nominee, Ms. Janet Maritita. I would like to think that, and I just based on my our relationship over the years, both serving in the legislature in previous past, your commitment is never in doubt. In whatever they ask you to place, and I wanted to again commend you for dialing in and accepting this task before you. Just looking at the extensive responsibility and the coverage that NMHC covers in the community is pretty extensive on all facets, and you have a very good pool of potential, colleagues, experience. One just gave a testimony earlier. Her name is Marcy Tumakani, and the Deputy Corporate Director. I do want to mention one thing, and perhaps maybe I encourage you, if you haven't had a chance, get a guidance from the administration as far as the voucher system. What the Vice President was mentioning earlier about the wait list of housing needs for our people. It's substantial amount. I'm looking at the citizen-centric, and I think the last number is up in the upper mid 600 some people that are manananga taza guma. It's number one. Number two is although we understand the program, if it's the low income housing tax credit, the LITEC, to what extent that the agency is administering that, I would like to think that it's part of their citizen-centric, so there's an oversight for the agency. So I ask that really look at the clients that are there, and make sure that the intent really goes to the residents of the CNMI, hence the wait list of people. I know that there are some requisites, there are some requirements, that's something that you can get guidance from the corporate director, but there's 56 units for Isa Villas 2. There's 45 for Vista Homes. There's Vista Estates. There's 30. There's Ladera Homes. There's 52. So probably plus or minus about 150 rooms, basically plus or minus. So that's a substantial amount of. And there's another 40. So kana 200 na guma no manimbrarasan is na program low income housing tax credit. I'm not saying that you can qualify all the 600 that are waiting, but if we can see if we can bridge that gap, or how to bridge that gap and prioritize the residents that are living in the CNMI, our people. Number two is there is also another program, the voucher. Again, there's substantial amount of programs that are being given to qualified applicants, and they actually go and find the house, available housing throughout the CNMI, to bridge that concern of not having a household. So maybe from that program, they can start the process of them applying for their home ownership program under HUD, Housing and Urban Development, or formerly known as Farmers Home Loan, or you're probably aware of this over the years. So I respectfully request that you dig into this particular items that I just mentioned. I'm sure your staff are very capable to guide you through if you haven't had a chance to meet with them yet. Iminados the Donkulustino Congresswoman, sorry, Miss Maritita, Donkulustina Nasweti para CNMI. It's a stroke of luck because we are qualified for approximately $256 million of community development block grant disaster recovery funds, and that's administered under your agency, the agency, and under that there's infrastructure, qualified infrastructure, which the leadership, the board members, and the staff had actually did an outstanding job in pushing through some of these projects. A lot of them is in Saipan. Tinian is ground zero for Typhoon U2. That's why they are right in the thick of things with qualifications, with this particular loan. So under this pool of money, the leadership of Tinian jointly worked closely with the corporate director at the time, Mr. Jesse Palacios, and now Jeannie Mafnas, and the board of directors at the time, to advocate that we take into consideration the critical infrastructure needs of the islands. And one of the project that I hold near and dear to my heart is the underground power line that is approved by the project. And it's a substantial amount of money, and I know it's already in motion for an award of a contract. But I was told that it's there is a protest or something, and that's the last I've heard. So I'm inclined to formally get the latest information from the administration, from NMHC, to really, and I cannot underscore the importance to push the project, because for every day that we wait, the cost of the cost of materials goes up, labor, and just it just snowballed into from laying an underground power line for 10 miles to to the cost, reducing it down to potentially half of that. And that's not something that we need to keep that in mind, as always. So I respectfully ask that help the board member from Tinian and encourage that we push these projects, because God created the CNMI to be in a typhoon belt, so we're always going to have storms. It's just the magnitude, and we keep putting our lines overhead and waiting for the next storm to come and wipe it down. So what do? That we need to adapt and go underground, and that's what the leadership of Tinian and then NMHC did. Is we endorsed this, and it went through. So if I say no, Tinson mo no chair, por favor ajuda a comunidade Tinian por este na particular project, push este, so let's get to the next level, because I think it's important that we get the construction going. It's good for the community. It's good for the reporting of the grants. Janya is the granting agency if they see that the projects are moving. It's good for the businesses. The businesses are happy because you're going to procure, right? And then the banks are going to be very happy because they see money's flowing around. And then, of course, the employment opportunity. So, enough with my soapbox. There are other important projects that I would like to mention to you that thanks to the leadership of the corporate director, both Palacios and Mafnas, and the board, that there are some road projects that are qualified and I've turned around, and the community of Tinian are actually using it already, and that's a success story in itself. I was there for the groundbreaking and the ribbon cutting, and I'm here now reading the reports. So that's number one, and then also the projects on Saipan. I see the beach road. That's a product of a DR money, I think, or a combination thereof. So, that's evidence to the commitment of the agency that when they do endorse a project, they run with it, and I have full confidence in your ability to push through with this. Mr. Chairman, talu uno, 20 na item pes beyo tati. Okay, I mentioned the light tech, DR. There's other programs under NMHC that perhaps we can revisit one more time, and regarding our former service members, the veterans, armed service members. I think there's a program under housing, but I'm not certain the details of it. But one of the concerns that was brought to my attention is the fee. See how we can, these people went out and served and defended our nation, put their lives on the line, and then when they come back to try and apply for homes, they're required to pay X amount of dollars. I'm not sure if it's directly NMHC or a subsidiary of NMHC. So if you can take a look at that and see how we can narrow the gap, and maybe, if possible, if legislation is needed to waive, really, because again, puro siya sakafisya ni nala niya po ma-defendin ni Zotan nilalata freedom nigi uno ma-raise kizo ko. Sin mas I hope that you malifazo sa tamana jale kubu dong bulas tina na entities on niya no coverage galo mi the community needs. But thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would yield my time for now, and I hope if it rolls around that I recollect my memory, and maybe I'll request for a second round with the nominee of a recommendation or conversation. So I yield back.
Thank you, Vice Chairman of Senator. Now I recognize Senator Castro.
Thank you, Chair, for coming back to me. And Ms. Maritita, thank you for stepping up to the plate to serve our community again. Thank you for your previous experience in the legislature and public service. So, given what was said by Senator Jude earlier, it's in line with some of the thought process I was thinking about. We have a lot of our citizens that move off island for education. A lot of them have trouble coming back. It's based on the economy and all of that. So I also see NMHC as an opportunity to help mitigate that. In the 90s, there were incentives for teachers to have housing, government-assisted housing, and most of that was here up in Capitol Hill. Yeah, just the other day we had a nominee for Northern Marianas Trades Institute. And I think as policymakers, given that our CW program is going to expire soon, if we don't do anything about it, the cost of construction is it's already gone up. The house that I have, which was built in the 90s, was about 60,000 for a 2-bedroom. I just paid off that mortgage not too long ago. Others in the community are paying about 250 to 300,000 for that same type of house now. And the cost is not only due to materials, but it's mostly due to labor. So as a policymaker, if given the position, I ask that you also look into incentivizing housing and workforce strategy. For example, requiring that a lot of these construction companies hire or provide training to our local population, either through a partnership with NMC or NMTI or Department of Labor. But when we set out those contracts, it's something that can help reduce costs by synergizing our efforts. In higher ed, we have programs called work study, where the federal government gives us funds to help our students get training and experience. So that same model can be applied to, let's say, NMTI. MOUs can be signed. And so that way it's not just, leaving it up to the contractors to hire whoever they want. We can actually tell them, we need you to hire at least 50% from this NMTI program. It seems out of the, hard to do, but, anything's possible if we want it to happen. And that way, the more we reduce construction costs, the more people we can put into homes. Chair, that's all I have. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Senator Castro. Now I would like to recognize Floor Leader Manglonia.
Thank you, Chairman. Good morning to everyone present. Ms. Maritita, I've had the pleasure of working with you in the 21st, even in your committee with your leadership, and so I can attest to the type of person you are, and based on the testimonies that we've received in regards to your capabilities and your passion, I think that you fit this. You'll be a great addition to the NMHC board. With that being said, I think that in regards to the concern that Senator Jude had mentioned, this is in regards to the VA loan. I think that's being administered by NMHC. I think that the concern that was brought up was, I think there's a $3,000 admin fee. I don't know if that if that's different for the type of applicants, but whatever support that can be provided to, I don't know, maybe waive those fees or offer some kind of financial support to help them pay off those fees, in addition to any fees that are required for surveying and stuff like that. And so while that is a great program for our VAs, it's also kind of an obstacle for them when it comes to having to come up with those costs up front. Another thing that I wanted to bring up is something similar to this workforce development training program that the NMHC had I guess maybe adopted, where they provide scholarship to those attending NM Tech. Based off of the last report, there's more than $500,000 was already issued out, and this program was awarded $1.6 million. And so hopefully some of that funds, with the collaboration of NM Tech, could be used to support additional programs to the other senatorial districts. I know we've like what Senator Kosher had mentioned yesterday, our hearing with NMTech nominee, you know, the challenges are to bringing those instructors or courses to our people on Road and Tinian, or even to bring those people up to Saipan to enroll in these courses. And so in trying to fill that gap, I think we can get more of our people to enroll in these programs, help reduce the cost of construction, the cost of building a house and all of that that comes along with having an educated and skilled workforce. But just for the sake of having to hear from you, because I know we've heard a lot of recommendations from our colleagues here in the Senate, what issues or challenges have you heard from your community members in I guess maybe the overall how NMHC is run, or what could be changed, or what programs could be offered to assist our community members? If anyone has brought up any of these issues with you as a public servant, and what do you plan to do to address those?
Thank you, Senator Manglonia. In fact, it's kind of ironic because, like, when, you know, there's a lot of numerous community members urge me to please serve, accept to, you know, serve in the board of NMC. There's so numerous concerns that to sum it up, I think it's based just on policy calls, regulations, as per, you know, Senator Magofnia has stated. It's very complex because, one, we have to always remember that we have to be guided by the grant specifications and so forth. So with that, I'm sure that, you know, we can actually request the grantor agency or other, you know, grantors to allow us to amend such policies or, you know, regulations that fits our community, because, one, we cannot compare the CNMI and California, or even in the small county, or it's for me, I think there's just, and we just cannot do it. We have to be innovative and creative, and also we have to really look into the needs of our residents, particularly in line with Article 12. And I know, Senator, there's a lot of regulations that we, you know, or NMHC has to comply with due to the requirements of the grant or the grantors. But again, like I said, it's all a matter of communication, and it's just a policy call. And I think that's where the board members can work collaboratively with the staff and other stakeholders, as I mentioned earlier. And yes, I will look into that. And again, I am really you know, saddened by a lot of concerns that our community has brought to my attention regarding, you know, and again, rest assured that I will work diligently, and I will, you know, ensure that the dignity and fairness are provided across our residents.
Thank you, and I appreciate the response. And again, with your experience in policy, and I'm sure that you'll, you know, bring a lot to the table in terms of what you can do for NMHC. I know issues have been brought up during Board Member Tomakani's confirmation hearing, which wasn't too long ago, and I'll just share that same concerns. When it comes to, I guess, the program implementation and the equity that comes from that, just to ensure that whenever programs are rolled out or we get new directives for these programs, that we do so in a fair manner, right? As we've seen with the CBDGDR program, there's just a lot of questions that were left unanswered, or concerns that were brought up from community members in the way that program was thought out from the beginning. But also, I invite you and the rest of the board members to make to visit the other islands regularly, have your board meetings there, see what issues there are, aside from hearing it from the representatives themselves. I know Mr. Vinny, who represents Rhoda, has a lot to share in terms of what challenges there are for our residents on Rhoda, but it puts into perspective really what those issues are if you go in and do a walkthrough of the different areas that you serve, just to get a better understanding and picture and sense of what's needed to improve, make the improvements in those areas. We've always brought up the issue of Blue Bay homes. We've heard from Ms. Mafnas sometime late last year about what are some of the plans there, but all of these sound like just plans, and there's no actual, or they're just waiting on approval or authorization to proceed with any of these plans. But I think that with Blue Bay Homes on Rhoda, if there's a greater push and there's a greater, if there's greater support from all the members, that something can actually be done to improve that area. If you're not familiar, that's the Lizo housing area on Rhoda, where we have the NMHC houses set up, and they're in very poor condition. A lot of them uninhabitable, and so I hope that there's a greater push and just a plan to revitalize that area. And so with that, congratulations on your nomination. I think that, like I said, based off of my experience with working with you, I think that you would be a great addition, and you will have my support when it comes to the confirmation of your nomination. And so thank you. At this time, I yield, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Floor Leader. Now I would like to recognize Ron Calvo. Senator.
Yes, sir, Chairman. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, colleagues. I'd like to begin by thanking our acceptance nominee, Janet Yu Maritita. Senator Calvo has learned quite a few things just throughout today's recognition and witnesses in regards to your background and your resume. We thank you for your 30 plus years in serving the public and the community. You have a well-rounded skill set, without a doubt. So that is why we thank also the governor and lieutenant governor for your nomination as we go through this process. And our colleagues, all of them shared, certain points in regarding to the North NMHC's, questions and challenges. My question was, which it's been pretty much answered, what values will guide your service if confirmed? And throughout the testimonies and the questions from our colleagues, they shared quite a few points. I do want to probably, just for the record, when you get with the NMHC board members, should confirmed, I have some questions that will probably be on the summary that the team can reflect on, in regards to revisiting when it comes time for the decision-making process. So the first one is just understanding your role, the position that you're to take. The question, just for the record, is what do you see as NMHC's greatest responsibility to CNMI residents today? That's under, your role. Another subtopic would be the housing challenges and the priorities. This question is, what do you believe are the most pressing housing challenges facing the CNMI right now? How would you balance, how should NMHC balance affordability with financial sustainability? That's another topic of discussion for the board members. Under governance and fiduciary responsibility, this question is, what safeguards should the board enforce to ensure fairness and transparency in housing assistance? Then we have under your ethics and accountability, equity and community impact. This is another question to reflect on. How can NMHC ensure housing programs are accessible and equitable for families across Saipan, Tinian, and Rhoda? And then we have another question regarding your interagency coordination. I know, with us, NMHC, and how they mentioned we have partnerships. So this question's regarding what partnerships do you believe are essential to expand housing opportunities in the CNMI, working with other stakeholders? And for performance and oversight, what indicators would you use to measure NMHC's success as a board member? Another question is, how often should the board review policies and program effectiveness? So these were some questions to guide you should you be confirmed, and to reflect upon with the board members as a whole. That is some of my thoughts that I have on hand. Once again, Ms. Janet Maritita, thank you for your honorable service to the Commonwealth, as we look forward to collaborating with the board members, in the efforts and the needs of, infrastructure planning and lending and grant use, and the assistance that we all share to ensure that, our people in the Commonwealth are housed, and just will build a better community for our people. Thank you so much, Chairman. Thank you to our nominee and our colleagues, and also your family members and all those. Ms. Tumakani, we have Jesse, Mr. Jesse, I'm writing the name, Alice, Mayor RB, thank you guys all. And if I miss anyone, thank you for your testimonies as we look forward to this confirmation process. Thank you, Chairman. I yield.
Thank you, Senator Corvo. Senator Corvo, are you expecting the appointee to answer those questions right now, or we're just raising those questions to her to look into that once she's confirmed? Because if you expecting her to answer, I think I suggest that you ask the question one more time, one by one, so she can be able to answer the entire questions, or you want her to hear that questions for her to raise among the board members if she's confirmed.
Chairman, thank you for that revisit. It would just be on the record for the summary, so it's a reflective question for her should she be confirmed, and it can guide the members as well as some of the questions along the way. So not at this time. It's just for the record that they can reflect upon should the confirmation be. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chairman
I
Gao.
yield.
Recognize Senator Snyder.
Chair, can I request for just 1 minute recess, please? I wanted to approach.
Yes. At this time, I would like to ask the acting director to, although this is directly for the appointee, but I think we request to have you in front for some clarification. Thank you. Recognize Chairman of Snyder.
Thank you, Chairman Cruz, and I appreciate the opportunity. Mr. Palacios, I asked the Chairman if you can just allow us to have you up here to kind of elaborate more a little bit about the question earlier that I posted regarding EZ Lightek. I know that you played a key role. And the reason why I wanted to kind of get clarification, and especially for the viewing public, because we were often asked, point blank, the qualifications and how can they get into the program. Of course, I always encourage them to visit the office, but because I raised this conversation or issue earlier with the nominee, I think it's okay, no? Sin tazuga un share community si Ms. Maritita so that we can get up to speed as to how this thing can roll out and what are the. I know in your program you can't, it's everybody, right? But like, how is it benefiting really our residents here per se?
Okay, thank you, Senator Hofsnyder. The Lightek program is really more of the U.S. Treasury, where the U.S. Treasury provides us the credits, just like for all the other states. There's a certain allocation given to us for 2026. They have provided us with, I believe it was about $37 or $39 million in tax credits. So developers out there, they come to our office and apply to get those credits. And when they are approved for the credits, they use the credits to sell the credits to investors in the U.S. that owe millions of dollars in tax credits. So these investors, they pump in the money and give it to the developer to build the tax credit properties. And in return, these investors, their tax obligations are offset with how much they invest in these properties. So the properties are really owned by the investors. And once the properties are placed in service, the requirements are any U.S. citizen, any resident of the CNMI can qualify to be a tenant, but provided that there is also like a maximum income threshold for the household, and it's stricter, it's more strict than the HUD requirements. For Lightek, it's we follow the 60% or below of the area median income, whereas for HUD they follow 80% or below. There's no preference. It's also like a first come first serve. And for light tech properties, of course, the household, the families, they have to pay the rent. It's not covered by another program unless it's a Section 8 family that moves into a light tech property. Then the Section 8 program pays for that family's rent. But if you're just a regular person without any assistance from the feds, you have to pay the rent. So it's and there's also a maximum rent allowed, from by the program. It's set. So although it's we have one that's under construction at the moment, or actually two. One by the, I don't know if you've seen, by the airport. So that's around 50 to 60% complete. That's for like 45 units. There's another one right up in Gualoray. That's another 48 units. That's under construction. It'll be online in about a year and a half. So, we have around 500 units since the inception of the Light Tech program to the present time. So it's just that these units are available to any resident in the CNMI, provided that their income is below the threshold as required by Treasury. And rental assistance only comes in the form of if it's a Section 8 family that moves into that property. But if you're not a Section 8 family, then you have to come up 100% to pay the rent.
Okay, Mr. Palacios, so can you share what's the prevailing figures of rental per month?
Yeah, Senator, I believe for a 3-bedroom, it's around $700 or $800. For a 3-bedroom, usually 3-bedroom, 2-bath.
And are you at liberty to share what's the percentage of our waitlisted people have actually realized a property or a room or I don't know what you call them, the homes that actually work towards reducing the number of people that may qualify and don't have a home, first-time homeowners, to dial into these programs? Because if you mention 500 units in the CNMI since its inception, that's a substantial amount.
Yes, and most of the light tech properties are, the occupancy rate is really high up there, because it's they're more modern than the older apartments. So they're more energy efficient. And the wait list you're talking about, Senator Hofschneider, it's more of our multi-family program. Those units right by the hospital, the Mihaville, Koblerville, Tinian and Rhoda. So those properties, we only have about 130 maybe or so properties, but we have close, like you mentioned, it's close to 600 people on the waiting list. And the difference between the multifamily and light tech, the multifamily, the rental is covered by the program. But if you're employed, then there's a certain percentage that's paid by the family. But that's the biggest difference is when it comes to paying of the rent. The multifamily is subsidized. Light tech, you're on your own.
Okay, I wanted to also kind of follow as a follow-up question is, how do you think can we encourage? Do we announce these things in advance to our people that are the 600 and some wait list? That hey, there's 50 units up there next to the airport. start submitting your application. And
Yeah, for example, the one right by the airport, they're already pre-qualifying tenants. They already have I believe 7 that they have approved, and there's already like 40 that are being reviewed, going through their applications. So as soon as that property is open, they already have their tenants.
are they mostly residents of the CNMI?
They have to be residents, no?
Okay.
They have to certify that they're legal status, and that's the responsibility of the property owner. However,
So you don't have any oversight, like
after 1 year, that's when we come in and when we inspect the property, and also we do file reviews of all a random selection of the tenants.
Have you ever run into a situation where there's questionable decision of tenants?
Sometimes we get reports from the public. Then when we actually do the file review, it's false. No, that they still fall within the income limits. Their immigration status or citizenship is
And I'm sorry. I mean, I didn't mean to like kind of press on the issue, but I guess if we have these opportunities, and then I see. I always go back to the report ni. Sa sentus man ay guma of amon tamanun siya ta bridge no ni. Tungana it's fair game and you open it up. Lo mas bonito niya como todo ta fenena ta residentin siya naman ni. Ta priorities niya no ta na fanolong gi muling na guma ni. I think I'll leave that up to your leadership and of course the board nominee to further discuss this and hopefully look at ways to narrow that and address the much needed housing needs of our residents here in the CNMI. So, Mr. Chairman, I just it's been a while since we actually talked about this, and I thought that this is something that we need to discuss. Noting the statement you made earlier that there's new units coming up for. In the market. So I hope that our people that are listening and hearing this conversation visit NMHC and see how you can qualify, how NMHC can qualify you, especially if like what was mentioned earlier, if you have a single parent or and you feel like you can qualify, and I think we should give them an opportunity. Jesus Masi, Mr. Palacios, Mr. Martita, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.
Thank you. Now I would like to recognize Vice President Magofnia.
This is Mr. Chairman. Just some clarifying questions, Mr. Palacios. So you indicated earlier that in order to qualify for these homes that you just have to be a resident of the CNMI, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So not necessarily a U.S. citizen.
Not necessarily a U.S. citizen or a green card holder. If you're a
But
CW,
these
then
projects are funded through federal
Treasury,
monies, right?
US
Treasury.
yes.
So there's no requirement or restrictions as to non-U.S. citizen residents?
The restrictions come from the HUD department, U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. That housing department is more strict, so they require you to be a U.S. citizen, green card, qualified alien. So those are the 3 main categories. No? But for Treasury, it's just a resident of the CNMI.
Interesting. I wanted to pose this question because I know it appears that the Treasury dictates what the income threshold is to qualify. And has your office or the board ever posed the question to Treasurer, whoever is overseeing this program, as to whether or not the median income matters or the cost of living, and under what jurisdiction are we following, because to compare us to Guam or even Hawaii is really out of the question, simply because the median income here in the CNMI as compared to Guam or Hawaii or whoever they're matching us with it's not comparable, and the cost of living here is so much high.
Right.
So much higher. Yes, Guam and Hawaii is expensive, but when you take the median income, right, it makes it so much harder for our families to afford the type of lifestyle that or the quality of life that they could have. So are we, like, can I ask which jurisdiction are we following or are similar to?
Senator Magufina, the CNMI has its own income limits. It's just strictly for the CNMI. Guam has their own. Hawaii, American Samoa, they have their own income limits. So it's based on HUD actually determines how they calculate.
So can you tell me then, what is the median income for the CNMI to qualify for the LIHTC program?
I will need to look into the HUD income limits table, but I believe for a family of four, maybe like 34,000.
Okay.
Yeah, 34,000 or below, you are eligible for LIHTC or the Section 8, for example.
Okay, so the acceptance into these LIHTC program are basically at the discretion of the owner of the complex and not necessarily the housing corporation.
Yeah, the owner qualifies the applicants, but they have to, of course, make sure that they are at that 60% or below AMI. They also have to make sure that the citizenship of the applicants, the households, are, like especially they are CNMI residents.
Okay, and how does one, I guess, prove or show evidence that they are a resident of the CNMI and not just, come here every now and then, or
Yes.
like what would be some of the type of supporting documents to validate that?
So aside from their IDs, like local IDs, they have to provide their tax returns.
Okay, so a tax return is required.
Tax
okay.
return, their ID, SS, Social Security number.
So a social security number are issued to U.S. citizens and not just non-U.S. citizens, right? So is a social security number a requirement to qualify, or?
It's if it's non-U.S. Or CW, they.
No.
Okay, so for U.S. citizens, and we get
And this is why I ask whether this particular program is specifically for U.S. citizens, very different from a CNMI resident, right? Because you can be a resident wherever you decide to reside, but to be considered a U.S. citizen, you have to have a passport and a social security, and that would qualify you as a U.S. Citizen versus a resident. And because these funds are coming from U.S. Treasury, right? They're federal funds funded by taxpayers in the U.S. And so I would think that the U.S. taxpayers would appreciate if their monies are being spent on U.S. citizens versus non-U.S. And this is not to take away. This is not in any way trying to be discriminatory, right? But we do have to follow U.S. requirements, and honestly, we really need to start putting our people first. Sure. We have a long line of people that have been waiting for years, and to see, again, I don't have any prejudices or biases against any other culture or ethnicities, but our duties and responsibilities and our loyalty is to our people, and so we have to put our people first. I understand that you guys don't have a say in reviewing the applications and approving, right? Because it's the owner that does that. But there has to be some sort of, I think it would help if the office sets some type of priority to go to our people first before they consider any other applicants. I know this is this is capitalism, and everybody's entitled to the same. Well, not everybody's entitled to the same rights, right? Because we are U.S. citizens, and first and foremost, we are, the true owners of these islands. But to know that we have over 600 people on the wait list, and some of them have waited for more than months, years, with children. Again, I humbly ask that we find ways to help our people and put them first before we start helping others. As the saying goes, you take care of your home first before you take care of everyone else outside of your home. So I just ask that we consider that. Also, I know this is a hearing for her, Ms. Maritita, but since you're here, I just wanted to quickly ask, those Miha housing that's next to the hospital, like, are there any term limits as to the residents that live there? Because there's so many of our people who are homeless, right? And I don't know how true this is, because I never really went and investigated or have access to supporting documents to validate the concerns. But the concerns that our people are bringing to some of us is that there's like generational residents in those housing, and how is that fair to our people?
Yeah, Senator, that's the issue we're facing with the Mihaville, Coblerville, the program. Is if you're an applicant, let's say there's 4 of you that have applied, and 4 in the household, you can transfer the head of household down to the next person, to the
So the
third
regulation
one, and to the
allows
fourth.
for that.
The U.S. regulations.
So how is that fair to other applicants who have been waiting, right? For someone to just keep transferring their housing to the next family member, to next, like, so fay pumalo ni tauta sa man tot sa kumania. After manu patazuda siya ni estakulan. You already cornered the market, basically, right? You're monopolizing. And again, I don't have anything against any other culture, okay? But ito tota importante na tazuda. So I don't know how we're gonna fix this, but those are the type of concerns that are being brought to some of us, and I really feel for our people, because we shouldn't have to be homeless. This is our islands, and for other people to have the luxury of having a roof over their head while our people are living with other family members, right? Especially with children. I've never heard that in my entire life growing up here. So we have to do better by them.
Yeah, I believe under the Trump administration, they want to limit, like, for example, Section 8, for just a term limit. You can only be under Section 8 for 2 years, and that's it. I don't know how far that's gone, but that's what we've been hearing, that they don't want the Section 8 program or the multifamily program to be generational. So
I think and that's fine if it's generational, but have them go through the process too of applying, right? Because there are other people too, following procedures, right, and applying. And how is that fair to the people who have applied, for the others who are already residing in those homes to continue to transfer? It's like you're out of luck, right? Because you'll never get to any of those homes, because someone is always gonna claim residency in those homes. So I'm not well versed in your guys' regulation, but I know in general concept in the federal regulations that you adhere to the general federal regulations. You can make it tighter but not looser. So if you can find ways to make it tighter to help our people, I'm pretty sure our people would greatly appreciate that. Go ahead.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's all I have, Chair.
Thank you, Vice President. And before I raise my concern. I would like to invite, if there's no objection from the members, I would like to invite the chairman of the board, Ms.
No
Marcy
objection, Mr.
Tumakani,
Chairman.
to the front. Maybe perhaps you can share some of the, the insight of the program that was raised today's public hearing. Marcy, and ada bifino sa mora di dia no na si sus masela no magana ti oso no mana zoda publiko no da utunga na sincero que apon chochoge no appreciate no Miss Maritita is almost statement earlier ni committed and devoted upon service in a capacity d'inclusive na responsibilidad NMHC za utungan na at hand wasya complain za simpim vana alum no sumauno man diskuti gi afasya na issue no jadi na preciso na gi kada unu gi zami pa ben patinas decision mami na ko magay na sincero na yaji mapunta por accepta na kapasidad za sa amin man confirm ami sempi publiko ma depende gi zami ko dinansi decision mami ne ko sa ke ma todo jisha igwa na complain tilele ko na todo complain man dinansi lo zigina checho mizo na pan atan don ina ka bolis za u gwa no ikwere na fair gi applicant siya za zangin man lachi decision mami sempi ami man ma pino samoro na ami man da man ma blame no za ti zan mami no za unsage ano ni gagi house na masyafa ta sogi todo ta tumungo na sempi blame motto ge za ita sa ita mas pepekta na ni publiko sa pega gano na istina puesto pa si zan no Kongreso o Senado no pata deliver offer publiko mas pepekta pata sogi ni para moli kinilala gini gi alung komunidad da si sus masi sa tema papasis na sogi pon sogi pwedyan mo meeting o ani man resibo di na lo other than that is not the salary the sweldos da si sus masi ni unaksepta da mas que sea ti paron mapause lo is mo willingness mampuso passionate pon fanajuda no di komunidad no za ramon na zangen manoyo ni blessing istina na body senate ni man perform no un fachoso za ni pomalo zoga no kinempende dan no molik mona na reaction por mazoge para imana tautosya estia gini no zoko no concern ni za usangan na asti kaya latsa siya ni audi siya man in entertain po desti NMHC za tiga na witness si Pogi chairman no tamakani na racist na concern ni po desti vouchers and CDBGDR no at an maulo mo atan fan don diskuti zani members eji gwasha I believe and I know si Jessica gini si acting corporate director da understand ana gwasha at hand no under aegis review. That's my understanding na gagi under aegis review acting director po di CDBGDR siya na cases.
Chairman no gwain hire sta no staff ni pro atan no i gwakulan issues no ni po ma atan finanantis ni po ma approve by applicant lo esta guano in hire I guess yung tayo lead fraud official ni atan todo di siya
okay pensa niyo interrupt lo tagi under aegis
initially under AG ni taza initially under AG lo pago ni gwasta no dedicated staff ni Porwatan no gagi pago gi oficina
so ji siya under AG stajo man monodan pan ma AG na hire siya chung kaya pago chumochoge no
jin hire pro
pesti taza AG bi ronna gi ani nai watu no pro review EAG siya na complain?
Thousand is one decision.
Okay, na si Usmasin na tungam neno za inspekta na todo fa ma sen gato no estabanti sa Finoniano times of the essence no za I understand na istina sa lapi man manoyam zo no parestina programa gwazo na timeline, right?
Ngan.
Za zangin sa kosu aksiri za gagege sa lapi gwazo mizo no option o siya no way ni jipan request for extension?
Nigi pago pa bin segwi no chairman no expiration ni grant is na November no 2026. Losta no in prepara documento siya ni pabin fanggago no extendi no para mas aside from housing na projects no gagawa talo siya no infrastructure projects por ejemplo gagawa dos gitinian or tres na project gitinian no it's not up and running yet and even that time frame the for now is gonna be way beyond 2026.
So guan in experience no kume comprende na pago na sakan is on no timeline. When experience in the past na gumana no zaman mapebams?
Hunggan i tourism waiver no na programa ni in azudazi MVA no los biayes ingago no extension zaman ma
Alo gesti pago gi housing
no
gesti pago na community pago housing assistant guanin experience webag zaman mapebam so mo mention is this sinabenti mang confident namin gini zang gininingong na guahano lo zangin tawza afay chances po fan mapeba za zangin niuno ni sa tumungo jigi zoku worry tapan mamu tatin sa lakpi na.
Mr. Chairman, if I may.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, on our most recent board meeting, which was about 2 weeks ago, we gave a direction to Jesse and Ginny to start looking into all the programs, infrastructure and housing, to go and ask HUD for an extension, and we're gonna go ahead of time. Usually they give us like 3 months, but we did inform management that they have to start like probably after second quarter of this year. So we will they're going to take the initiative to submit all the justification. Definitely not all staffing will probably remain on board, but because of the project that he mentioned, like infrastructure and some ongoing housing, we have a feeling that HUD is going to give us the extension. But we can assure this body that we will fight hard to not return any funding, especially when it's already committed. And I'm pretty sure the Fed would not take any amount back that is already committed, especially when there's a contract already. It's just a timeline of when to spend it is probably what we're going to ask for extension. We will still need some staff, especially the compliance inspectors. Those are the department that we're looking at asking for an extension as well.
Thank you, Chairman, for that good news. And I'm crossing my finger that they will approve us. No. On another note, like is the voucher. I raised this concern last during the public hearing. I'm pretty sure na Steve Finone, corporate director na voucher lo tinian galay no homeless tinian za siga di mahousing kumu maksepta no alum sa taza guma za with families with kids sa single parent za ni mamaisin tinian voucher masangon na taza sa lapi no malagzo bitungu konto man masisti tinian ni voucher za gip I'm not sure how many but lo para gol pananti bulan lo ani masangoni sina na single parent na za tresa magonya man tay guma no masangoni gi John Mizo representative tinian na sa available imiya na Lo I'm pretty sure ani pago 5 singi last time. I corporate director linga angin tawza ni mia sempi gua voucher no. Zaman da still active voucher malagu je bitungu ko active pro clarification ne ko active voucher geje person voucher no holders or gwa sa lapi para je voucher ge senatorial district no sa ejo no mention fin no earlier je leko equity no fairness ne je umana gwa no fair no ge share ne no sa tisinya na ta exhausta toro no for example tinyan pumagzausta toro mo za tawza often a reserve na ne je sa ko su gwa ha no incident ne je tumawza gumone tauto no ko often a closing plan ne je good pi gwa number kom tau da za tawza reserve ne je jang gwa ne no sinya man makamde sa tinyan 1000 isti tagini je tamana pagusi triple no e ocean rich home then I believe Sandy Beach and is up there at the next to the NMC. Taza tinan no then I think even in road. So is he voucher ejani ma de pependisha benti tau ji man manispia guma ne but apartment. Other than isti na programa moli jangeng gua at least one. No, I don't know who mentioned last time. And I'm hearing that there will be another MIHA or Section 8 pumachogi tinian. I don't know if that's accurate, but I want, if there is, maybe can accommodate all those that apply and still waiting on the waiting list. Lo isti ji the liquid emergency ji home ji taza gumane za gwa pamagun mandikiki na pamagun za ani mamaisin assistant linga taza sa lopi para voucher no. I wanna understand how NMC work with voucher on Tinian Road.
Yeah, Chairman, if Section 8 voucher program, no, it's CNMI wide, no, the taza allocation para Saipan, para Tinian, para Luta. It's first come, first serve na process. The presently got about 130 some on the wait list for the voucher. The just mautsumi wait list is taki in latsay zino na tunok para zero kasi gini sinain baba talo. So iji tagi gwasya homeless ni po fan apply gi voucher no ti sinya sa sita bin accommodate finin na ji manggagi gi wait list.
I totally understand that. No, istigisi lelekoi ditungu ko ma gwa outreach program neji pro itotomizu gi papa po ananong susung na gwa ni sina program mo sa I'm pretty sure not tibula tumungo na ne voucher. Jajangin it's a first come first serve basis. How can those that really need no na gwa ne no na jajangin first come first serve sempi madingu na ji tetungo. Eza lelekoi kosinya maybe perhaps in the future ma ugwa na representative to publicize ki papa no sa todo man gai access gini gisti online ne za zan gwa lokki ji tima phone no telephone za ansinya na opisina ki papa una gwa di no masya de town hall meeting no za pachinoi toto mizo manono papa za ma announce official na programa ko se ki mat kumpendi na first come first serve ko se ki taza rason jangin madingu sa onya sa ti apply ne loji ani population isti la homeless le ko untungu pun voucher tatinungon pese jena le ko na no preciso na itane tapana azuda ta sige mo educate to na gwasya na programa sa lastimasti i jangin ti parasya na ji lelikoy man na masisya to ni tumungo za not everybody have an access to i computer ne za I hope na we can help one another and let them know ne no what patient za no sa to simple mafatugi zami to di complain za I'm only here to to give my blessing na lo at the end of the day man mablemam no kumo jeep sepi masongan niya meluki na af an liku tungo lang afo nang kekitungo that's very heavy ne pata lo we have to swallow it ne because this is our job is to to find solution and make it better. So all I'm asking from NMHC is if there is any new programs that we were getting from our federal partners, I think it's important that even though we were putting it online, there is website or something like that. Those people we have to take that into consideration. Those that don't have any access to computer, no. So hopefully, we can make it better.
Mr. Chairman, for your information, our next board of directors meeting, calendar meeting is sometimes in March, and between Ward and Tinian, that's what we're looking at. And maybe we'll take that opportunity as well to bring some of the staff that we can call for a town hall meeting on the same day to help you ease the pain of being bothered about different programs with NMHC. But we'll take take note of that, and we'll incorporate it as well.
I really appreciate it, Chair, and thank you, no acting corporate director. I hope you understand where I'm coming from. I don't want to blame NMHC. I'm just asking for an improved services. So I won't raise this if it's not coming from the member of the public. So again, thank you too for your time. And although this is not your hearing, but I think sometimes we have to call the office, the corporate director or member to participate just for us to make sure that the appointee understood what's coming and what's going within the office, no. Especially, I don't have any question about the appointees. Most especially, it's not a paying position, and we're looking for people that are committed and be able to volunteer their time. And of course, we're looking into the credential too, and make sure that even though you volunteer, make sure that you know what you're doing. So those are the things also you're putting into consideration. No? So again, thank you for your patience and your understanding and for be part of this public hearing. Anybody else wishes to?
Mr. Chairman, if I just go back to Senator Jude's question regarding the VA programs.
Okay.
I kind of pick up some of your question, but first of all, NMHC don't get anything other than an application flat fee. The fees that you're talking about is subject to the VA rules and regs. In fact, I asked Jesse and Ginny to work with our U.S. delegate to see what can the VA pay NMHC to administer the program. So the fees that you were referring to earlier is based on the VA requirement, not NMHC. We're not getting paid for anything other than a flat fee of maybe $300, and that's it for the next 30 to 40 years. So my question to the administration is, why did we avail or even agree to run this program when we're not getting anything? So the agency is subsidizing personnel, admin costs, and whatnot. So I just want to make sure that I get back to you on that. Okay.
So maybe, Chair, maybe perhaps we can, maybe your office or through the administration, request assistance from our delegate to address that in a federal side. So maybe they can raise because Vice President mentioned about the cost of living, different from Guam, American Samoa, Hawaii, to the cinema. Maybe because it's the changes, maybe perhaps they can change and hopefully they can raise that amount.
Chair, coincidentally, Kimberly met with Jesse yesterday and other management, so he's going to report back to the board. We make him do the work.
All right. Thank you. Anything else, members? Okay. At this time, all public comments are well taken. Let the record reflect that all written testimonies will be included in the Senate Standing Committee recommendation report along with oral testimonies and will be forwarded before the full Senate members in consideration for confirmation. At this time, before we adjourn, I would like to extend on behalf of the members of this committee our sincere appreciation and gratitude to Governor David M. Apatang and Lieutenant Governor Dennis Mendola's representative, Mr. John Paul Regis, the appointee, Ms. Janet U. Maritita, and most especially the members of the general public for your participation and involvement during this important public hearing process. And we certainly hope that we continue this dialogue of communication between us, the elected officials, and the public to keep you abreast and informed of our current and future Senate hearings ahead that relates to public best interest. This concludes this public hearing for this morning. Do I hear a motion for adjournment? There's a motion for adjournment. I was seconded. All in favor of that motion, say aye. Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. This public hearing this morning is now adjourned. Thank you.